Welcome to SVG-TV News and Sports for Monday, January 28th, 2014. I'm Jennifer Richardson with the details. It was a tragic weekend for several families here who lost loved ones in two separate vehicular accidents on opposite sides of the country, bringing the road fatalities here for the year thus far to 5. Zuleika Lewis has more on the accident in the Marico Valley, which claimed 3 lives.
Two women, 25 years of togetherness, came to an abrupt end on Sunday, January 26, 2014, when their partners were killed in a horrific road accident. For Kelon Pompey, the death of her common-law husband, Leopold Pinto Grant, is being taken with strength.
I was in church, so when I get the news, I was like, my sister bringing message to me, so I couldn't get up from where I was. So I was sitting on the chair and I was like, Lord, strength, just give me strength.
While for Annie James, Alwyn Crazy Toby will always be remembered as the man who had his ways but always came through for her.
Well, now he got together, so just say, well, yes, he's been to me, but then he have a fault, but we cope with him.
According to the police report, Grant and Toby are 2 of the 3 deceased men, with the other being Peter Cluss Phillips, who were killed when the truck they were traveling in ran off the Maroon Hill Road and over an embankment. The driver, Nigel Peters, and 2 other passengers, Brendan Bello Grant and Cliff Richards, are still patients at the Milton Kate Memorial Hospital. Speaking to SVG-TV News earlier, Annie James of Mesopotamia, who is the common-law wife of the deceased, 52-year-old Alwyn Crazy Toby, recalled the last moment she saw Toby alive and thought that he would have made it, although he complained of back pains.
Someone tell me that we should have gone in the ambulance. We say, well, if you go to the hospital, I have to go home and get up something to carry them. When I go home in the bedroom, I get up a thing. But my sister go in the ambulance. But I said go in the ambulance. We hear more like phone a ring. And say to this, that crazy Larry Spad. Well, what is the crazy Larry Spad? Me ball out. So shut up, but like you hold back. When we did again, it call out. And it's a crazy dead and we start to ball to mother in the bedroom and then we go outside.
Higher up in the Marico Valley, the Pompey family is also mourning the loss of Leopold Pinto Grant. The 52-year-old farmer is fondly remembered by his common-law wife, Kelon Pompey, who is trying to come to grips with his death.
His life, the Lord give it, and the Lord take it. So we have to satisfy. We don't look for things like that, but then when it happens like that, we have to satisfy. God knows best, so we can't do nothing else to that.
Neighbors and relatives gathered to console the Pompey family and also spoke highly of Grant's usual jovial disposition.
Way back, I know him very good, very kicksy, very kind-hearted.
Yesterday it was very sad, and up to now, we cannot get over it.
If he meet me in the road, he will come behind me back easy and touch me and run. And I said, boy, you too touction, you know. But he was a very, very nice young man.
A family member of one of the survivors, Brendan Bello Grant, explained to SVG-TV News that although he survived the accident, he is in serious pain. The relative, who opted to speak off camera, said they have been told about injuries to Grant's head, neck, chest, hips, liver, heart, ribs, lungs, and bladder. Many comments on the social media site Facebook highlighted the loss being felt by residents in the Marico Valley. For SVG-TV News, I am Zuleika Lewis.
And on Saturday morning on the leeward side of the island, another road accident in the Coles Hill area claimed the life of Martina John, a 51-year-old retired businesswoman of Villa who resides in Trinidad and was home for the Christmas holidays. It is reported that the Jeep PR361 in which she was traveling, driven by Victor Hunt, a 71-year-old retired businessman, went over an embankment in Coles Hill. John died on the spot. The driver, Victor Hunt, and his wife, Brenda Hunt, are set to be hospitalized. Meanwhile, in another accident on the Leeward Coast on Sunday, this time in Clare Valley, motor vehicle RR89, a Toyota RAV4 owned by Gregory Richards of Arnesville and driven by Tracy Lavia of Clare Valley, ran off the public road and collided with a liquor and provision shop owned by Arnold Hansen of Clare Valley. According to the police, during the accident, motor vehicle T9756 owned by Arnold Hansen was pushed off the public road and into a dwelling house. Tracy Lavia sustained injuries during the accident. He was treated and discharged from the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital. Vincentians are being asked to have faith in the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, and its system of disaster relief distribution. Speaking to journalists recently, Director of NEMO, Howie Prince, says prior to the commencement of the distribution of building material following the Christmas Eve floods, it was been rumored that persons who have not been affected by the trough system have been receiving building material. This, he said, is wrong and unacceptable.
And that is before we started to distribute one sheet of galvanized, one piece of board. So you see what I mean, my brother? We already been blamed for distributing something that we haven't even started to distribute it. That's unfortunate. People really have to have some faith in the system. Watch the system work before you criticize the fact that it's not working.
And Prince said that a sound distribution system is being coordinated by the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, and the local Red Cross. Prince explained that NEMO is at the moment responsible for servicing the emergency shelters, while the Red Cross carries out distribution for affected persons at the community level.
We still have 176 persons in shelter, and at the community level, in excess of 300 families that require some assistance. The government has already pledged that it sees itself as being in a mode of responding to the humanitarian needs of the people for certainly up to the next 6 months. Because you will appreciate, of course, that for reconstruction of houses, and we have more than 120 houses to rebuild, if we're talking relocation, the number goes up very quickly.
Additionally, Prince said their focus at the moment includes relocating persons who are still housed at emergency shelters.
We want people at the community to appreciate the fact that we will deal with the people who are in shelter first. So there's a prioritized way of making sure that the services are provided in a way that we can close the shelters, and then at the same time there will be a rapid repair program. So it's not like one then the other. They will be in sync with each other. So beginning in the next 2 weeks, a week to 2 weeks, there will be a rapid repair program so that people's houses can be repaired. A lot of the material has already been brought in, and their credit facilities established with a few hardware stores in St. Vincent. So we really, over the next 2-3 weeks, will see a hive of activities. And I know that it will be a useful thing for people who are unemployed too, because there will be some employment for some people with this construction boom that is going to be taking place.
Later this week, $1 million will be donated to the government by the Mustique Charitable Trust for the relief efforts here. This as the rebuilding process continues after the devastating 2013 Christmas Eve disaster. Prime Minister Dr. Rav Gonsalves said the monies would be handed over to the government this Friday after he returns from his trip to Havana, Cuba. Dr. Gonsalves is currently leading a delegation to the second summit of Community of Latin American and Caribbean States, CELAC, which wraps up on Wednesday, January 29th. The Nanton family of Rosebank will soon be housed in temporary location as the government continues its efforts in the relocation and rebuilding of homes. Speaking to the members of the media over the weekend, Prime Minister Dr. Rav Gonsalves outlined that they have commenced their search for lands in order to assist those affected by the 2013 Christmas Eve trough system. Prime Minister Gonsalves pointed out that the Nanton family, who lost 5 members by landslides, will be one of the first to be temporarily relocated.
I know there's a house along the Fountain Road, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom house, which is going to take half of the Nanton family, so we have another half with Uncle Basil. We're renting that until we build for them, because we'd have to build 2 houses for them, because there are about 10 of them.
And recently, leader of the Democratic Republic Party, the WSG, Anicia Bertiz, had delivered some health care material to the community clinic in Bel Air. The items included disposable underpads, Pampers, and other personal health care supplies geared primarily towards the elderly and others who require special health care. Bertiz, who hopes to contest the West St. George seat in the next general elections, said in a media release that the Bel Air Clinic, which serves about 13 areas in the constituency of West St. George, received the material with gratitude. Still to come, Vincentians expressed mixed reaction to possible increase on fuel surcharge. More stories on the local scene when SVG-TV News continues. Don't go away. Welcome back. There is mixed reaction from Vincentians on the impending increase to the fuel surcharge in the coming months on their electricity bills. The pending increase was recently announced by the St. Vincent Electricity Services Company, VINLEC, which is working to restore 3 of its hydro plants damaged by the December 24th trough system.
To add more cost to what we are already paying, is really making us poorer. Right? We need the electricity, and yes, we need to have it running properly. But VINLEC should take more protection, put more protection in place to ensure that their services is a continuous process. I believe that there's too much wastage in VINLEC without seeing the whole operation. It must be a difficult something to be paying more surcharge than you're paying for what you use.
I think the consumer shouldn't be paying for that. I think VINLEC 2-1 should have been taking that expense. It's done too high in the poor class already. So for them to take up that again, it's going to make it more hard on the people. You know? So this thing, right about now, them should have considered it instead of going forward with it and ease up the people, ease up the pressure on the people. Things done hard already.
I think the problem should be VINLEC problem because they collect our money all the time and we're not supposed to pay to fix their thing. The price should be normal, you know, so they're just trying to pressurize poor people. They're trying just to suck everything out of us, but just leave it to God. Just leave it to God. But it's their problem. We're not supposed to pay that money for them because they have enough money. Because it's a big company and they're making some.
It's part of the disaster and it should be in their hand. We are paying them enough. We should just pay for what we use, what is our thing, and we should not be paying. I think it's a big rip-off. It's too much pressure on poor people.
If it happens so, we just have to accept it. Knowing those of us who study the Bible, we know that prophecy will fulfill, and these are the things that will take place before Jesus appears. Saying that they are the ones who are responsible for the increase, we should not be able to pay for that. I don't think that we should be compensated for that increase.
I know it's good for say because about almost 3 years now since I have rent and in Abarabi. Serious. I can't really use it as God.
Yes, we have to pay it because we pay it because it's cut off. So we have to pay it.
Right now,
CEO of VINLEC, Tony Myers, indicated it will take 10 million EC dollars to repair works to the 3 plants. Operations at one of VINLEC stations at the Cumberland Hydro Power Plant are set to have recommenced last Friday following a period of absence of 1 month. The Cumberland Power Plant, along with those at Richmond and South Rivers, reportedly suffered extensive damage as a result of the December trough system. VINLEC says its engineering team has been able to successfully recommission the Cumberland 1 C1 plant and that the operations began last Friday. The C1 plant produced an average of 600 kilowatts daily, noting that output at the hydro station is dependent on the level of rainfall. The company says efforts to bring the two other plants at Cumberland online continue, and it is anticipated work should be completed by the end of April. The electricity company further states that work to restore the South Rivers plant continues with the testing of equipment and machinery at that location, with its engineering team working to have that station functional within the next 2 weeks. VINLEC says the reintroduction of the Cumberland 1 plant to the company's system is the first step on the long path to recovery. VINLEC anticipates that the entire period of restoration should be completed by the end of this year. Vincentians are being encouraged to consider insurance as an important aspect of their livelihoods. Speaking on Sunday's Hit Stop program on the topic Ways to Best Protect Our Lives and Properties Against the Ravages of Nature, President of the Insurance Association, Fidel Taylor, stressed the importance for persons to insure not only their lives but also their properties.
A lot of people don't have it or who may have had it in place. Some people, after they would have paid their loans, they give it up. But I think people really need to revisit that. It helps, you know, and I think we need to look seriously at it, especially insurance against disasters, you know, not only for your homes and business places, the commercial properties, but even for your vehicles. The trend is today, because of the hard economic times we're living in, people are migrating for vehicles to a third party. And a lot of them whose vehicles were damaged in this recent disaster didn't have coverage because they tried to save a dollar or two, so they go third party. We need to rethink that because we are living in the end time.